Now on CoastTV News.
Exclusive bombshell revelations from this Delaware state lawmaker.
I think our leadership team has really mismanaged the situation.
The issue, the handling of Stell Parker Selby's absence by Democratic leadership.
Helping the homeless.
Well, we see the need here.
Wooden pallets, perimeter fencing, and sanitation stations being installed at the Teros camp.
Lewis Workforce Housing.
People shouldn't have to drive an hour to work because they can't find any affordable housing in the area.
How this development could reshape local and specifically affordable housing.
This is CoastTV News at 6.
In an exclusive interview with CoastTV News, a member of Stell Parker Selby's own party says one of the House Speaker's tactics is a lie.
I think it's a lie. When I heard it, I paused the video. You can ask my husband. I paused the video and I said, that's a bold-faced lie. Because that's what it is.
Explosive words about one of the revelations regarding the way Democrats have handled the long absence of Milton area Representative Stell Parker Selby. I'm Madeline Overturf.
And I'm Charlie Sakaitis.
Only a few hours ago, CoastTV News sat for an exclusive interview with Representative Medina Wilson-Anton. Wilson-Anton is a Democrat. She's breaking ranks and calling out her own party in a significant way. Stell Parker Selby has missed every day of the legislature this year. That equals 37 working days absent. Multiple politicians tell CoastTV Stell Parker Selby had a major stroke this winter. Despite this, no Democrat has called for Stell Parker Selby's removal or resignation until today.
Representative Selby has a long track record of showing up for the community. She was asked to do this role. She didn't stand forward because she wanted to do it. People asked her to do it. You know, like, it's pretty rare nowadays to have someone in office who's only there because their community wanted them, not because they had personal ambition, right? So she's like very well respected in the community. And I think it's very disrespectful to her legacy to make it seem like this is all a failure on her. It's not. But that perception is being, you know, that painting is being painted by people that benefit from it.
Who benefits?
I think leadership benefits from this. I do. And I think there are people in my party who think that this is best because they want the seat to say Democrat, which I think is disgusting.
Has that been outwardly said?
It has been said to me, yeah.
Tell me exactly what was said.
Basically that there's this understanding that the seat is going to go Republican, and people don't want that. So they want there to be an election when everyone can work on it, when everybody can, you know, focus on it. Not right now.
We were told that there is this discussion happening that they, kind of what you just said, we were told that they want to wait till they can kind of groom a candidate who would win.
I believe that. I believe that. I don't know that from the horse's mouth, but that's kind of the consensus that I've gathered from talking to people. I think that is 100% what's going on. And I think that's disgusting.
When you say you've heard a lot of people talk about it, you mean members of your party?
Yes.
Legislators are saying they're okay with this seat being absent for 2 years. Yes?
Yes.
Representative Wilson-Anton also alludes to a cover-up by fellow lawmakers. The cover-up concerns Stell Parker Selby's absence from Legislative Hall. And Wilson-Anton says it began with our news camera pointing at Stell Parker Selby's empty chair in the House.
I remember, it's probably been a few months ago now, I was sitting at my desk on the chamber floor and we were voting on bills and I noticed that there was a camera and it looked like it was on me. And I was like, what did I do? Why am I on camera? And I asked someone, what outlet are they with? And they looked into it and they came back and they said, oh, they're recording Stell's seat. She used to sit right behind me. And I was like, okay, yeah, I mean, it's been months. There's been no answers. And after that, a member came up to me and some other members and said, be careful. They're out here recording. Terrible people are out here recording her empty seat and they're recording her empty parking spot. And in that conversation, it was suggested that we as members think about rotating cars and parking in her parking spot. I'm not going to say who said it, But I will say I was so taken aback that I, in the moment, was like, yeah, a cover-up, yeah, that's a great idea, and I walked away.
Last Thursday, we caught up with Speaker Melissa Minor Brown in the hallway of Legislative Hall. We asked Minor Brown about Stell Parker Selby's absence. Her solution: add virtual voting.
You know what? I think you have a point. And so what we've been doing is we're working with our colleagues. We're going to focus on getting virtual voting passed through our rules. And then that way we can most likely see Rep. Parker Selby.
Do you think that will happen before the end of this session?
We're working on it.
Virtual voting was brought forward because you were asking questions and they weren't getting answered. And everyone's saying you're not answering. Well, that's an answer. And I watched that clip that you got in the hallway with the speaker a few times. And she's like, you know, you have a point. And the way she says, you know, you have a point, it seemed so forced. Like, it was uncomfortable. Like, okay, she sat in a room with people and they advised her on how to address this question because, yeah, you haven't answered the question. You can say to Miss Overturf, you know, I've answered your question, but the Delaware voter, the Delaware news, you know, reader is like, no, you haven't. So here's a new answer, Madeline, go figure that out, virtual voting. It's not happening.
You don't think it's going to happen?
No. I'll be shocked.
So you haven't heard anything that we're like, hey, this today?
No.
So just to clarify, you think she told us that just to get us to go away?
Absolutely.
And here we
And
are.
you're saying it in a nice way. I think it's a lie. When I heard it, I paused the video. You can ask my husband. I paused the video and I said, that's a bold-faced lie. Because that's what it is.
You just heard explosive allegations. Representative Medina Wilson-Anton reached out to CoastTV News. She told us her motivation for speaking out is to protect legislative staffers. To be blunt, she says staffers have been unfairly thrown into responsibilities that should be handled by elected officials. If Speaker Melissa Minor Brown answered our questions that we began asking months ago, staffers wouldn't be in that position, according to Wilson-Anton. We reached out to the Speaker's media team for a comment on all the interviews you just saw. We haven't heard anything back yet.
Meanwhile, the Delaware General Assembly was back in session today, and District 20 Representative Stell Parker Selby was absent once again. Parker Selby has missed every single House vote this year. That's at least 158 votes. And all of this brings us to our CoastTV poll, going right back to the concerns about virtual voting. What concerns you the most?
Let's take a look at the updated results, and 64% are afraid there's maybe less transparency, 30% say security risks, 3% say rule changes, and 3% say unfair advantage.
And Skylar of Lewis says, quote, I believe that we would need full accountability and transparency for this to work. If we can't physically see her as the one voting, how do we know it's her, unquote. If you haven't voted yet, if you want to leave a comment like that, go to coasttv.com or use the CoastTV mobile app, and we will show you updated results tonight on CoastTV News at 11.
Finally, to Stell Parker Selby, we hope you are well and healing. Your constituents want representation. We would like to speak with you and hear your thoughts. For all our past reporting and full interviews on this topic, check out coasttv.com.
Switching gears now, look out below how these channel markers could cause more harm than good. In October of 2024, a dredging project in the town made it easier in Fenwick to cruise by, but these markers, they're still in the wrong spots. CoastTV News reporter Kevin Zapay is live in Fenwick Island. Kevin, misplaced markers, those can cause problems.
Charlie, channel markers are essential to let boaters know where they're going in the water. But if those markers are misplaced, that can cause confusion and problems. After the recent dredging project finished up in Fenwick Island, traversing through the bay has been easier, but problems are still along the water, with the first one being these channel markers not being in the correct spot. And one boater says marker placement is more important than you might think.
It keeps the boats in the same spot, and their propellers keep it cleaned out. So if the channel markers are in the right spot, that channel will stay clean.
Now, the Fenwick Island Council will be discussing tomorrow possible bidders to help move these markers in the right spot. I'm Kevin Zappé, live in Fenwick Island, Coast TV News.
Taking a look at the campgrounds for the Terros Village. That's a transitional housing arrangement for homeless people in Sussex County. Coast TV News reporter Zakia Jennings live in Lewis. Zakia, County Council has granted Terros Village a conditional land use permit.
Maddie, the permit was granted shortly after 4 p.m. in a 3-2 vote. I spoke with the Terros Village team, who says this will be a self-governed village, but it will be nothing like the conditions in the woods. I want you to follow me and come on over and take a look here at this pallet down here. This was put together earlier today by volunteers. You see they have more pallets in the back. This is for people to put their tents on top of so they don't have to worry about it getting wet when it rains. Frank Arena, Director of Governance for Terros, is helping to move a pallet to its designated spot. These pallets were built to help keep tents off the ground when it rains.
There are three words that come to mind when I think about Terros, and they are dignity, respect, and hope.
Arena was helping set up the camp alongside Mark Sipos, Director of Infrastructure for Terros.
Well, we see the need here.
Arena says there is an agreement and authorization from the state that allows them to work on this days-long project, though the County Council has not yet granted the conditional use permit they need to officially reopen Terros.
We have agreement that we can begin the preparations because it takes several days, right? And we await today's ultimate decision from Sussex County.
So the work will continue.
I'll be overseeing the layout of the camp, the construction of these wooden pallets which we're going to build the tents on, and the services are hand washing stations, porta potties, trash, fencing. We're going to have perimeter fencing putting in, things of that nature.
With hopes to open in early July. Arena stressed the importance of getting Terros up and running because he says the conditions in the woods are extremely unsanitary and extremely dangerous. People will be living here at Terros and on top of these pallets until December 1st when Code Purple opens again. Live in Lewis, Zakia Jennings, Coast TV News.
And we're just getting started this evening.
Game 6 of the Stanley Cup Finals. That's tonight. The Panthers look to repeat against the Oilers.
And we have a yellow alert day ahead. I'll pinpoint the timing of that for you coming up.
But first, major progress on one unique development in Lewis, how it's opening doors for those who work nearby. We're back in just 60 seconds.
This is Coast TV News at 6.
Building is happening a lot of places, and in Lewis, the latest development you see here is making some major progress.
It's called Dutchman's Harvest on Savannah Road. It's expected to be workforce housing.
Coast TV News reporter Emma Aiken live there. Emma, this housing would only be available to full-time workers in Sussex County.
Maddie and Charlie, this is the city's first affordable workforce housing project. There's 140 multifamily units in total, a combination of 1, 2, and 3-bedroom places. Opening a new door. That's the goal of the Dutchman's Harvest housing project in Lewis. It's catered specifically to those who work full-time in the county. Bill Zach says this is an asset to the community.
It's always been a concern for me personally. People shouldn't have to drive an hour to work because they can't find any affordable housing in the area.
There's 140 units in total. 98 will be sold for roughly $100,000 below market value, according to developer Preston Schell. The remaining 42 would be cheaper, with 14 already sold and 28 available for rent in about 4 or 5 months. Longtime local Jerry Burke says she hopes Dutchman's Harvest can offset rapid growth in the area.
There's been an explosion of residential development, which is very concerning because there isn't the infrastructure to support them. And one of those infrastructures is affordable housing.
Building an affordable place to come home to after work in Sussex County. And we spoke with developer Preston Schell earlier, and he says the first group of people will move into these houses by the end of this month. Reporting live in Lewis, Emma Aiken, Coast TV News.
The heat and the humidity is cranking up full throttle for Wednesday and Thursday, and we have to be on the lookout for the possibility of some thunderstorms turning more than just ugly on us. Our tunnel razor camera. We have cloud cover that's thickening up as we speak. Temperatures in the mid-70s with the winds primarily pushing out of the north. The cloud cover sticks around as we settle into the upper 60s by 10 o'clock. Now here's a look at where we are right now. When you think about the fact that the sun is starting to go down, but we are still in 80 degrees in Redden, 78 in Seaford, as well as Laurel, it indicates just the tremendous level of thermodynamic energy that's in place. Combine that with the abundance of moisture, because with these dew point temperatures, which is a measurement of moisture content in the atmosphere, in the 70s, that's sweltering. That's more like New Orleans and Mississippi Gulf Coast type of conditions. With that in mind, take a look at this muggy meter. We're going to stay to very humid to miserable for Wednesday going into Thursday till we drop, thanks to some thunderstorms that we expect. That'll drop it down to muggy. You do get the irony of that. We're going to drop down to muggy. That's how serious it's going to be. Now, we do have heat advisories that's in effect for Thursday for the most northern county of the state and up towards the Philadelphia area. But you see, we're in this general area right now. And here comes a warm front, additional warm air and energy, along with scattered showers that's going to slide through. So when we break down tomorrow, we're looking for temperatures to escalate into the upper 80s rather efficiently. Now look at this wall of rain. By 8 o'clock, it pushes through quickly by the late night hours. Watch this. Once again, rapid movement throughout the area. And because it's moving so fast, we got to watch out for it, and that's why we have a yellow alert day for Thursday, which is Juneteenth. So any outdoor Juneteenth programs or plans or activities, have Plan B ready.
Delmarva Sports Network from the Wawa Studios.
Tonight, the Stanley Cup could be decided in Sunrise. Let's preview Game 6 of the finals between the Oilers and the Panthers. The defending champion Panthers lead the Oilers 3-2. Florida is one win away from its second straight title. Edmonton is trying for its first since 1990, when the Oilers won 5 in 7 years. And similar to that dynasty that featured Mark Messier and Wayne Gretzky, this group has Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. Both players are tied for the postseason lead with 33 points. The Oilers need more from where that came from tonight. Puck drop is 8 p.m. on ESPN. As for us on DSN, our next live broadcast is this Friday at 6 when we present the annual Berlin Bathtub Races. One of Worcester County's great summer traditions returns to the network. Coverage begins at 4 p.m. on Coast Life, and the races get underway 2 hours later. And on DSN Plus at 7, Blue Gold football up at Delaware Stadium. Watch some of the best seniors in the entire First State go head-to-head for the final time. Team Gold tries to avenge last year's 32-2 loss in Newark. That's it for sports. Have a great night, everybody.
Well, first of all, we're going to need an umbrella on Thursday because we have a yellow alert day for Thursday. But our umbrella giveaway winner is Bill Burns of Salisbury. Congratulations, courtesy of Paul Davis Restoration and Home Remodeling. Now, keep up with your forecast by calling our weather line, 443-880-9100. Your forecast is just a call away, sponsored by the law offices of Brockstedt, Mendalis, and Federico. And finally, here's a look at your exclusive 10-day forecast. Listen, summer actually kicks off officially on Friday, and we're going to feel every bit of summertime leading up to that date. 91 on Wednesday, and then watching out for isolated thunderstorms to kick off on Thursday. And it's a yellow alert day because it's going to be just that unsettled.
Paul, thank you. And thanks for joining us here for Coast TV News at 6.
For more news, more local weather, download our Coast TV News app.
The NBC Nightly News is up next.
And we're going to see you later tonight for Coast TV News at 11. Have a great evening.